Today we are doing a Bookish Tag.
Let's move on from the greeting. We can do the greeting later.
We might have to. We might just have to cobble something together.
Yeah.
I'm very warm. Welcome to our channel. Books and Chocoholic tagged me in the Bookish Tag, which is 10 questions all about your bookish habits and books that you own and books that you like. And it seemed like quite a fun tag, and it was the first time I'd actually been tagged in something, and I was like, I'm gonna make the most of this. Question number 1 is, how many books do you own? Now, I spent about 20 minutes counting my books because I wanted to give you exact figures, so I can tell you that I own 341 books that I have read. That is 249 paperbacks, 90 hardbacks and 2 graphic novels, and unread I have 12 hardbacks, 45 paperbacks and 1 graphic novel. And a cat. We also now have cat. Question number 2 is, how many books are you currently reading? And I am currently reading 3 books. I am reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which I'm doing as a buddy read, complete series read through again with a friend of mine called Charlie Author on Twitter. The second book that I'm reading is Wilder Girls. This is a feminist, almost retelling of Lord of the Flies, where you've got a whole bunch of girls who are stuck on an island, horrible things are happening to them, and I'm really enjoying that one. And I'm also reading Crescent City. Now, I'm not as far through this as I thought I would be. I took this on holiday when I went to Austria last weekend, and no one would leave me alone enough so that I could actually read it. So I didn't read nearly as much of this as I'd have liked. I thought I would get through this in the weekend, and I haven't done that yet. But we're getting there. And it's getting juicy, so I'm quite enjoying that one as well. And I'm also listening to the second book of Dust on audiobook. So I think I said 3 books. I'm reading 4. I think I said 4. I am currently reading 3 books. Audiobook. Should be good. Question number 3 is, choose a couple of books that you did not enjoy. Now, I actually did an unhaul in January, but I've kept a few of them back because these are YA books that I'm going to donate to a friend of mine who teaches in Dubai, and buying books for kids in Dubai is really expensive, so I've kept a couple of these back, which meant that I was able to tell you that I could not stand The Night Circus or Sin Eater's Daughter. Now, I appreciate these have been quite popular with quite a few people on Twitter, and therefore I'm potentially going to lose friends over this, but for me they just weren't what I wanted. The Sin Eater's Daughter promised so much, and I really enjoyed the setup, but the payoff was rubbish. And The Night Circus, nothing happened. I know everyone's been really excited about The Starless Sea, and people have been rereading it, but for me there just wasn't enough story. It was just a lot of really beautiful descriptions, but then I don't know. It seemed a bit too literary for me. I prefer mine clear-cut genre, trash, entertaining, and this was beautiful, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. So those are 2 books that I have bought, I have read, I did not enjoy. Question 4 is a book you bought for the cover. Now, this is called Jane Austen's Guide to Happily Ever After. I bought this because I assumed it would be about Jane Austen's stories. And when I say cover, like, I also based it on the blurb and stuff as well. It has these really gorgeous pages where it's kind of torn at the edges, so it looks like old parchment, and I just thought that was absolutely beautiful. I thought it was going to be about all the different stories and kind of how Jane Austen would build a happily ever after for her characters, and almost a academic book, but for nerds like me who really enjoy Jane Austen. It is not. It is a self-help guide for how to find a boyfriend if you are so obsessed with Jane Austen that you only can use Jane Austen as an analogy. And as someone who is perpetually single and is quite happy doing so, it was a bitter disappointment. So this is a book that I bought for the cover, and that was a mistake. And since then, I tend to make sure that I've done my research on any books that I buy, unless it's a case of, there might be some books that I buy that I don't know the actual story, but if they're hyped, or if people that I trust their judgment on have rated a book highly, I will read it. But I don't buy books based on their cover anymore. I made this mistake, and it was just, it felt sneaky. It felt like a sneaky little way, and like, Yeah, so the tagline is what Jane Austen's heroines can teach modern women about men, sex, marriage and lasting happiness. So I assumed that meant that we were looking at this critically, and turns out they mean literally we're going to tell you how to get a boyfriend if you're obsessed with Jane Austen. Very, very disappointing. Question 5 is a book that you own but you hate the cover of. So that is Babylon Steel by Gay Sebald. Now, this is your classic Americanized fantasy. It looks like it was written in the 80s and it came out in 2011. I really enjoyed it. It's a very feminist fantasy. You've got a lot of really fantastic heroines. I'm pretty sure that's Kate Hudson on the front. I'm not wrong, am I? That's Kate Hudson. Weirdly looks like Kate Hudson. But I just think that the front cover is so tropey and it doesn't actually tell you anything about what the story is going to be about. The characters are on the front that are actually quite minor characters, except for obviously Babylon Steel, which is her name. There's nothing, this is so 80s and yet it came out 10 years ago. It just blows my mind. But it was really, really good. But it hurts my eyes to have this on my shelf. I don't want to give it up because I do like rereading it every now and then, but it just looks like trash. I hate it. It's just really, really bad. Question 6 is a book you haven't read in years. Now, the reason I'm rereading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is because for a really long time I hadn't reread the books. My dad read them to me as a kid. I think I then reread them when I was about 17, so that was at least 10 years ago. Now, I had to replace 2 of the books in my series so that I could have the original covers again, not the newer covers, because I had 4 of one and I didn't want to buy 2 of another, so I had to wait until I found them in a charity shop. But now that I have the full set again, I'm rereading this series. So this is a book that I haven't read in years but that I'm really enjoying. I forgot how developed the story is before Harry gets to Hogwarts, because obviously in the films it just pretty much skips to him straight being into Hogwarts. I loved it, and I love all the old illustrations as well. I just think it's really pretty, so it's really nice that I can re-enjoy this. Question 7 is a book you will always recommend. I will always recommend The Lies of Locke Lamora. If you're a fantasy fan, or you are a fan of mysteries but you want to kind of get into fantasy, I feel like The Lies of Locke Lamora is the perfect gateway drug. What I like about this one is it's a split narrative, so you've got the behind the scenes development which then immediately affects his present. You've got a fantastic world building, you've got different mythology, so you're not basing it solely on Norse or anything like that. The whole world feels real, but they're thieves and it's fun and it has sad parts in it and it has brutal parts in it, and for me it is the pinnacle of fantasy. I love it, and if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend it. If you enjoy fantasy and you've not given it the time of day yet, give it the time of day, because it's just fun. It's not hard work. There are some fantasy books where reading them can feel really tricky and it just feels like you're stepping over yourself to get there. This one, it's nice and simple and you will just devour it like I did. This is actually a birthday present as well, so thank you to the Charlie that bought this for me. Question 8 is your favourite series of all time. Now, Philip Pullman, His Dark Materials, this is my favourite series of all time. I originally read this because a boy recommended it to me, and I now have a much stronger relationship with this book than I do to the boy who recommended it to me. I know that some people have been rereading The Subtle Knife and haven't enjoyed it as much, but I absolutely love the full His Dark Materials. The Northern Lights was just beautiful and the rest of the world just kind of developed from there. I like the fact that it was a trilogy, and I'm really enjoying getting back into this world, so yeah, it's just absolutely perfect. And this is a really pretty heavy copy. It's really hard to like hold there with just my wrists, and I'm just like, but no, I love this. I think it's beautiful and I really enjoy it. And Lyra is just fantastic. I actually named my business after Lyra because it's Silvertongue Creative, and obviously she's Lyra Silvertongue, so I just, yeah, my favourite of all time. Question 9 is where do you read? And you're looking at it. I like to read in bed, I like to read in the park, I like to read anywhere. I'm that person where if you go for a night out, I might bring my book with me so that I can just sit quietly in a corner and ignore all of you, because I like to be antisocial. I like to be social as well, but I'd rather be social with a book. So I always have a book on me. Obviously, can you imagine I went to a wedding and just carried around Crescent City with me the entire time? That was in my handbag for the entire wedding. And actually I really enjoyed the wedding, so I didn't get a chance to read it, but it's the sort of thing I would do, is just casually start reading my book during your wedding, so don't invite me. I just really enjoy reading anyway, but this is my go-to space. It's nice and cool in my room, my bed is super comfy, and I'm surrounded by cats, so it's just a win-win-win. And question 10, what are the last 2 books you gave 5 stars to? So The Wicked King is the second to last book I just gave 5 stars to. This is the second in the series. It was even better than the first. If I could have given this 10 stars, I would have. I absolutely loved this. If you saw my wrap up from last month, you'll know why I love this. I'm not going to go into it too much. I know everyone loves this series. Well, everyone I care about loves this series. I just think it's really fun, and it's good fantasy. So that was the second to last one, the penultimate one, and then the last one I literally finished yesterday is the Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage, which I gave 5 stars to. No surprise there, it's Philip Pullman. I absolutely love his writing. I loved the characters in this, and I was really impressed considering I already know what's going to happen. This is a prequel to the Northern Lights series. Considering I already know what's going to happen and how it's going to end, I thought they built the characters really well. It was really fun to see the world from a different character's perspective, to see Lyra as a baby, and kind of to see that she's already having these adventures and she's not even aware of it, and she's still such a big part of everyone's story, and to just kind of see this world evolve around her was just really, really fun. So that was the one that I literally gave this 5 stars yesterday. Absolutely loved it. Excellent work. And then I need to tag 3 people. So the first person I'm going to tag is Noella Reeds. I really enjoy her channel, so I'll be quite interested to see what her bookish responses to this are. I'm also going to tag Llittle Wolf because she is incredible and I love all the content that she creates. So I'm just excited to see what she talks about in her book. I don't know if she's done this tag, so I may change that if she has. And the third person I'm going to tag is Septima Snape. I just wanted to double check that that was her Twitter handle because I've really started enjoying her content as well. So I'd be really interested to see what bookish answers they give. So thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. When I get to 100 subscribers, I'm giving out gift cards because it's a little like thank you for supporting me to those who've been following me for a while. I just think it'd be a nice thing to do. That you literally don't have to do anything except click subscribe, and I can get there and I can start handing those out. I'm really, really close. I'm so close it hurts. But I think it'd be really, really fun. And other than that, have a nice day.